Change of plans today. Um, so it's going to be probably a short stream. My son's homesick, so I'm planning to keep him some company and watch over him. Nothing serious, but just, crampies and yucky stuff. So anyway, a couple of announcements. I wanted to remind folks about the Nexus Construction League. They are hosting a housing competition. It is for entity only. If you happen to be an EU player that has an entity account, that obviously makes you eligible, but it's restricted to that region because the prizes that they're giving out are on the characters of that region. So, but because they've had so many people comment about that, I believe the next time that they host one, they will be striving to make it cross a region, just to kind of make it fair for everybody. But the deadline for that particular housing competition is February 14th. I don't believe there's any kind of theme restrictions, but there are some other things that you might want to keep in mind. They like go into detail about their scoring system and everything, so be sure and check that thread out. You can just go directly to the WildStar forums and hit the housing subforum, I think is where they posted it, or you can go to the Twitch channel page, resources section on my channel page, and hit the link there. Also, Nilia and her bunch from Venus Rising are going to be starting a new house tours series. It's meant to be a weekly thing from what I understand. They talked about doing it on Saturdays, but apparently their raid was canceled today, so they're going to be hosting it this evening. So you can check out her channel. It's linked in the resources section as well. Well, I think there's actually a special section for house streamers. You can find her link there. But it's called Holy Housing Cupcake. And you can also check out the thread. I believe they have one in the housing subforum on the official forums as well. But the idea is they're asking folks to submit their homes if they want some, I guess, airtime or whatever, and they will hit those houses up. It is both regions, so even if you're on entity, while Nilia and them are primarily based on EU side, they do have characters on entity, so they're happy and willing to go explore the homes over there. I think it's her and 3 other guildmates of hers that will be like commenting on the homes and such. So yeah, so their first episode is going to be tonight at 10 p.m. GMT time. So if you're interested in checking out some more house tours, be sure and go and support that bunch. Okay, so just going to pick up where we left off yesterday. We were working on the Seahorse painting. I did come back a little bit yesterday evening and added an eye. I will show you how that looks. And I was playing around with signature ideas. We talked about how I'd had someone suggest that I start signing the paintings so that folks can readily recognize that they're from me, and I kind of just ended up going with the idea that myself and I believe it was Bones suggested that I use just a carrot. I actually ended up combining 2 carrots to make one and just applying that as a little kind of a thing. It's a little bit large, but I wanted it big enough so if you notice the bottom part kind of disappears the further away you get. And I wanted it to kind of be at a good distance that is still visible. So there you go. Just a little carrot. You'll see I've applied one on all 3 of these just to kind of give myself an idea of how it looks on different backgrounds and if it's kind of like an eyesore to the pictures. But it's not too bad, and it's economic. Rather than trying to fashion letters from 2x4s or some other kind of thing, it's just 2 pieces. It is something that the person that gets a painting would have to purchase the carrots themselves because they are restricted to reputation with, I believe it's Skywatch Galeras area. They're really cheap though. I think it's like 13 copper, 13 silver, something around there. It's just a bit of an annoyance. I can't actually just directly give the bits to them. They'd have to go and pick those up. But it's a small, kind of a compromise to have something as simple as that. I didn't really want to overload it with a lot of lettering. Even with just the letters K and G, that's if you just do it in straight pieces, that's still quite a few more pieces required to make that than just the two little carrots. So that's what we will stick with for now, I think. It's just a kind of a goofy idea. I mean, someone else might come up with something better, but that's what I'm going to use for now. So just kind of showing that that's how I did that. The thing that I added yesterday off camera was the eye. I just basically used the little strain eye splotch, I think is what it's called, and just kind of set it in. So it kind of is a little creepy because it moves, of course. Yeah, strain eye splotch. And it's fairly small, but it's kind of tucked in there, and I'm hoping it doesn't look too bad. I like it because it blends in nicely because it's got, the purple bits and everything. And I had to kind of tilt it, rotate it a little bit to kind of get, because the splotch has all those little tendrils poking out. And I wanted to make sure that that wasn't kind of taken away from the picture. So I think it looks all right. I did go and craft some more of the strain blades. So we'll be able to finish up, hopefully, the last little bits. I was wanting to add some more spiky or curly cues to the tail here. And then we'll see about adding maybe some green. I thought about, last night I was thinking about it while I was preparing for sleep, and was wondering if there was like way to make like bubbles, because it's supposed to be underwater, maybe there's a little clam or something and making bubbles or whatever, but I have no idea what would make good bubbles. I know there's probably like tank pieces that you could use, like maybe the clunky fire extinguisher could make a little bubble, but I don't know if I have any of those on hand. Well, I have one, it looks like. But like it would just be like just the corner of it that I would be using rather than the whole thing. So I don't know if that will work. And then I'd have to worry about these bubbles actually coming out where I don't want them. So I don't know if that would work right. I thought maybe using glass, like drinking glasses, the glass bottoms or something as a bubble. But we'll have to see how that'll work. But anyway, so let's get down to business with the tail here. Now, as far as I know, Akatia hasn't seen this little bit that I've made for her. I mean, it's intended for her. Whether or not she will accept it is another story, but hopefully I will be able to let you know her response to that once it is done, or when I'm happy with it. I say done, there's probably always little things that I would think I could change that and make it a little different this time or something like that. That's hindsight's always good and cruel at the same time, because there's always something you want to change. But I just wanted to add a little extra flair to the tail here. It kind of beefs it up a little bit as well. You know, it's dainty, but it's not. I wanted to just kind of add a little extra something. And it kind of, you know, repeats the motif that's around the mane of the seahorse there. I don't really know if that's what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it. Okay, so I need to go ahead and dump them all in there. Now you'll notice that's one of the tricks of, or I wouldn't say tricks, but it's one of the issues with any kind of custom build. But sometimes, especially with things like this, when you're really getting a lot of detail and you're having to add a lot of pieces to it, it can become a burden, or especially if it's a custom built home to begin with. It takes a lot of pieces just to make the home, and then to add in all of these details like this, it's pricey. I think we'll just go all the way around up. Oops. Oh, guess I didn't duplicate it. Anyway, this morning, the reason I kind of got a late start was I was experimenting with, usually I run my dashboard for Twitch through Firefox. That's my main browser. It has been for years, and while I've had problems from time to time with some of its updates, it's been the most reliable for me. So I guess it's kind of like old habits are hard to break. But there's a special thing that I'm looking to do in a few months on Twitch, and so I've been looking more into the how to run giveaways like they do, like on even Carbine's streams, where they use like a keyword for those in the chat to spout out, and then that makes them eligible for the drawing or whatever. And apparently, well, the one that I've decided to go with to practice with is Chrome based. So I'm currently running this in Chrome, and feels pretty much the same. It's not like it's a little weird browser. It's just I have an extra window open now. But I will be giving some more information about that special thing, probably more closer to the time. It's a few months away, so I'm not really going to talk about it too much, but it's something special, and I am getting some help from Carbine with it, so that'll be something. Okay, so I think I'm going to change this one up a little bit. I know I had it kind of set, but I want to move that just a little. It probably looks like I didn't move it at all, but I did. There we go. Kind of like that, I guess. It just something felt a little off. I don't know. Maybe I didn't move it at all. It's hard to tell now. Okay, so I think that's it for Mr. Seahorse. There's one more bit I need to sort out, and that's this part where it's a little bit blue here. I have to see if I can push that in a little bit to kind of fill that gap. It's just a minor thing, but it's something I keep noticing, and I want to fix that. Okay, so I think that's think that's good for the Seahorse bit. Like I said, I know there's probably some little fins on the sides here, but I think the overall shape and look of it is all right. Now we need to think about other features we might want to add. So for instance, for like kelpiness or whatever, there's a couple of good bits you could probably use, and that would be like the leafy stalks. There's also the lily leaf that could work for a little bit of greenery. I think it just depends on what you're using, but I tend to look at the stalks more as like kelpie. The problem is, since I'm kind of trying to lay it flat into the painting, the canvas, most of the leaves probably won't be visible. So I'm going to pick the really leafy one. This one's got fewer leaves as opposed to this one, and hoping that a good many of them will show up. So we'll see what it looks like. If it doesn't look very good, then we'll figure out something else. Just give it a try. It's the best we can do for now. And of course I have to pay attention to my little signature there. I've got to keep it. And another thing, this moves quite a bit, so that's another thing to think about. So too. I have to bring it out quite a bit because it's moving so much it kind of disappears into the water. It's not too bad. We could add something a little grayish maybe to make surface, and then build on top of that. Not gray, but maybe kind of a tan. I want to say maybe like a sack or I don't know if the sack would be too. Either that or the sandbag. I think the sandbag would be a little too dark. It's pretty dark. I want something a little bit more, a little lighter. Hey Bones, glad you could join us. I just want just a little bit here. Hey Soccer Talk, glad you could join us too. Good to see you both. Just want a little bit of something here, I think. I may change my mind about it. There's no telling what I'm going to do here. How are you two doing today? Any big plans, building plans? Or are you playing hooky from WildStar? I noticed, I I think it was Frankie was talking about on Twitter about how I guess his guild disbanded or something. They decided to give it up. Mine's still hanging in there, but by a thread. I think a lot of people are really putting their final decision on, you know, any information that comes in the next couple weeks. So it's a little scary thinking about it. I hope it doesn't come to anything drastic, but you know, you can't blame people for wanting to move on. Oh, right, you're at work. I find that so weird. I have a guildmate that comes in and they're all the time talking. I think they're a professor or a teacher or something. And they're always talking about, well, it's time to go, you know, uh, wrangle up the students or something. And I was like, you're at work? What are you doing? A lake. Well, I heard somebody in uh, the housing chat talk about using the exotic silver chalice as a way to make a big area of water. I haven't seen, I've got the name of the, let me think. Maybe I didn't write it down. I thought I wrote it down. Um, yeah, here it is. Rakima Everglow. Let me type that out. If you have access to Exile side, Rakima Everglow. They said that they'd found a way to use the exotic silver chalice. It's kind of a rare item, I know, but you know, if you happen to have one, maybe you can give it a try. I haven't seen it myself, so I really can't say. It might not work for what you're aiming for, but you know, any new kind of little trick like that is always good to kind of get a hold of and check it out and see what they're doing with it. Because you know, you may find another use for it somewhere down the road. Other than that, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people, we've seen some examples like with the ones that did the Booty Bay theme that we visited on both Jabbit and, I mean, Dominion side and Exile side. They both use just lots and lots of winding rivers and just overlapped them. But you know, you get with the textures not matching right, and so you have a lot of weird lines and stuff. But if you can kind of look past that, you know, that kind of should, you know, be all right. Others still stick with just the plain glass and just, you know, layer it up 2 or 3 times to get a bit of a bluish haze to kind of intensify the color. You can't go beyond that really. Because it starts looking like ice almost. But you know, there's some options. I'm really hoping they'll give us some nice still water bits that we can use, but you know, whether or not they actually follow through on that is another thing. Just trying to give a little bit of contour here. I don't know if I like that. That way. Just a little broken up. Give it some ground. Well, then you should, you know, maybe check it out. Because like I said, I haven't seen what they were talking about. I was planning on doing some visiting today because I'm working on getting, you know, even though my house tours are only once a week, I spend all the other days kind of checking out homes on the faction that I'm planning to tour so that I can kind of pick out some new places. So I got several that I've got on my list to go check out and if it turns out to be something pretty cool, then I'm definitely going to showcase it at some point because, you know, the more people that know that kind of little tip, like with the snowy hills and stuff, you know, that's helped a lot of people because the massive umbrella trees are, were so expensive. It's just good to know that kind of stuff. Good to share that kind of stuff as well. Let's see. Now, typically for like an aquatic scene, I would want to use like the barnacle weed and stuff, but because of the way it's built, it's too fat. The little leaves that are on it, I would have to tilt it so much to get the leaves to show up. And of course, in theory, this painting would be hanging on the wall, so I can't have this big gloppy barnacle weed bottom sticking out even if I had the leaves line up nicely. So can't really use that. So I'm going to try and let's see what kind of plants we got. Plants. No. Got a lot of pretty plants. Usually when you're like trying to make an aquarium or something, stuff that moves is very sought after. But for a painting, that doesn't necessarily work as well. It looks a little weird, but I'm just kind of going with it because, um, it's like a futuristic kind of make-believe fantasy world anyway, so maybe the pictures move like in Harry Potter or something. But see, like this one, the leaves are so, well, maybe I can get this one to work. Probably not, because it's just, this part would be sticking out, I think. But this is the one I would normally, because I like the coloring. I'll put it out just so that I can show that I did try it, but I don't think it'll work very well. Could maybe try some of this overgrowth, turn it upside down, and rather than having these moving, I have the stationary ones. Yeah, I think I might try that. Let's see. One looks better. Let's try that one. That comes in huge, doesn't it? It's like gigantic. Those move. This might be nifty, but then you got that animation with the bubbles. We'll put it there. These are nice for underwater, so are these. Kind of weird. Again, you're going with thickness and you're probably only see maybe one or two of those tentacles. So I'd have to like lay out several of them. We'll pop it out there too and just play around with it. Okay, so the barnacle weed, again, like I said, it's pretty bulky on the bottom. If I get the blades of the plant to show, then I typically have to contend with this sticking out, which is not nice. Trying to see if I can bake it in there a little bit. But see, I can only get one leaf, and then it's like poking out funny. You can't see it right. If I make it bigger, then the bottom becomes bigger as well. It's just it's just awkward. And that's the one that's closest to the edge as well. So that's why I say it's not really a good bit to use. Let's try this. shrink it. We're going to rotate it. Looks like we're going to have to shrink it some more. Maybe not that much. Where is that thing? Oh, I didn't even put a number in. That's why it's wigging out on me. That's so 180, 0. Gonna place it for now so that it remembers what I did to it before I try to move it in. Yeah, I think that'll work a lot better than the wiggly things. See, let's move the wiggly things. They're good, but I don't like the movement. The eye I'm gonna look past because its movement is not as noticeable. But this one, I think we're gonna have to. Let's see, I'm gonna duplicate that and bring. I don't want to do this. Don't want the bits. That's try a different one maybe. See, that one is the thin one. Over, not lower, over. Let's try that one, and we'll also try the short one just in case. There weren't some long, some of those long tendrils showing up in there, but make them really big just to show up. And I don't want any poking out of his body either, so that's awkward. I'm gonna have to move this a little bit. I could see some of the green poking out. Little better. That one. Okay, let's try this other one. Maybe that will work. A little better. I'm going to place it and then I'm going to try it again at a bigger size. Yeah, that's what I was afraid I was going to look through. Try. How about like that? Does that look a little better? Just I don't know. It's like uh, you're basically trying to, like I said, it's when you do a painting, it's almost like telling a story. You've got to give a like a little composition. And I like that these go all the way up the side. Want to leave this a little bare because the main focus is of course the seahorse, but I like how he kind of is curled up into the greenery there. I like that. I think I want this to be a little greener though, so thicken that up a little bit. Oof, the sun's really coming out now. Oof. Like super bright in my eye. Here it was all doom and gloomy, and suddenly it's all nice and. Oof. Guess it's going behind the clouds again. Okay, does that look like too much, or is that just enough, or I think it looks all right. Pretty happy with that. It's like there's a carrot in the bottom of the ocean there. Now I just need like a little hook and something, a little bait, worm bait on there. I like that one though. Let's just for you know, in the interest of trying to see what this looks like, if I can get that squeezed in there somehow, and see how the animation. Oh, fun! I'm like a vampire. Don't want the sun on me. So sad. Don't want it blocking its tail too much. And the further I push it in to kind of not have it sticking out so far from everything else, it doesn't work that way. Maybe this way. I think the smaller it gets, the less noticeable the animation is too. I'm looking for a flat, straight edge where I can tuck it in but still can see, and you notice it just kind of disappears in the grass, so it's really not too visible. But maybe that added extra color will be all right. See, you can't even see the bubbles. How lame is that? Maybe I should. I don't think it will matter if I turn. Brings color a little bit. It doesn't really do much for it, does it? The stone does, but the green up here doesn't. And it has that weird glowy thing, so I don't think I like that. That'd be good for aquarium setups and stuff. Those are really nice, especially if you can enlarge them pretty big, then the bubbles are really visible. 'Cause I think I learned that the size of the bubbles kind of dwindles. It's not like the bubbling cauldrons, like the witch's brew and stuff. No matter how small you make it, I mean, that stream of smoke is still pretty visible. So it's good for hiding it to make it look like smoking soup or like a pipe that's got smoke coming out of it. But these, I tried doing that with a little pot of soup and you couldn't see the bubbles. It was like there's nothing there. It's like, well, that's a disappointment. So anyway, I think we're gonna call it done. There's my seahorse. And I will be taking a snapshot of this and sending it to Katia and see what she says about it. Um, like I said, there's probably some weirdness to it as far as like how the spikes are kind of angled out from the thing, but that's one of the weird, funny bits about 2D painting with 3D objects. You're going to have a lot of parts that are sticking out. So it won't look like you mean it to from different angles. It might kind of resemble it, but it's not going to be as good looking as looking at it straight on. That's your main priority, is what it looks like from straight on view. And if you're happy with that, then that should work. Now I say that, and like for example with the dragon, I later I was looking at it and there were some things like sticking out way out here, and so I ended up tweaking it a little bit to kind of push it in to kind of sort of flatten it out, but still keeping the look. So it's just a bit of experimenting when you're working with stuff. Like here, most of it is pretty within the framework, but the tree of course is sticking out a bit. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Oh, we forgot Mr. Tentacle over there. Well, let's experiment with him too, just to say that we did it and tried it. Pretty confident it won't work, but you never know. So yeah, you probably have to tilt it for one. It looks weird. And notice part of it is sticking there. So you'd probably get maybe 2 in a piece, just because of the way the shape is. Because again, you don't want it to poke out too far. So that might work for someone. I'm not going to use it because again, I'm aiming for things that aren't movie kind of bits. Other than the eye, which again, like I said, you don't really notice it too much. It'll freak out those that do though. It'd be like I'm moving here and the eyeball is following me kind of thing. But anyway, I think we'll call it good on that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Katia is happy with the result, even though it's absolutely nothing like what she was discussing. I just went completely on a different tangent on my own, and yeah, be afraid the tentacles will reach out. Well, I figure some will say, it's a strain seahorse, but I don't know. It doesn't really remind me of strain. It's just a purple seahorse, kind of cute and girly. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed kind of following along. Essentially, I think it's taken maybe altogether a little over 3 hours, I think in total, and that's including me stopping and gabbing on for who knows how long. So it's probably not even that, maybe 2 hours max if I just put my head down, hunkered down, and worked on it. I could probably really, if I had all the materials on me on hand and knew straight away what I was doing, probably with an hour, squeeze it out in an hour. But we've just strung it on for, because we're that way. And so yeah, it's 3 days, but it's only a few hours work. So, it's just a matter of sticking to the idea. For me, like I said, the things that trigger it the best is by looking at a decor piece and thinking about what you could use it, what it reminds you of, and it's usually the texture that sticks in my mind the most. Like the spine, the strain blade is really spiny and bony looking, and when I was thinking of ocean creatures, that it popped into my head, that's seahorse. And it just works out nicely that the shape of this particular strain piece, the giant strain blade, works really well for just about, well, all of the bits that I was aiming to portray. There are other strain pieces that could probably work. I know there's like, let's see. There's the Spire, strain Spire. This is a little awkward because of this big bulky thing, and I'm almost positive it pulsates. And then with this one, there's the big eyeballs. I think they move and everything. There's the pointed strain spine that might could work as well. I haven't seen any of these. These would be pretty cool. Oh, this is just disgusting. Look at that. That's just nasty looking. Anyway, the reason I chose the giant strain blade wasn't because I thought it would work better than the other pieces necessarily, but because it was easier for me to obtain in a large amount, because I was pretty confident I was going to use quite a few pieces. I think some of these are only available as rewards from raiding. I think they're a rating drop. There might be a few that you have to buy from a rep vendor. I don't know. I didn't really look into all of the sources, or I did, but I don't remember all of them, I should say. Or maybe they're world drops or something like that. This one, as long as you get the reputation up with the file and you get the recipe, if you're an architect, then you can craft it anytime you want. Or if you're friends with a crafter that has that recipe available, it's really simple. It's like 3 materials, and there's one piece that's a little on the expensive side, but I happen to have more than enough just without having to purchase any extra to get. I don't even know how many pieces this took. I will check it out later, but probably I did 20 today, 20 yesterday. It was probably maybe 30, 40 pieces altogether. I was able to craft that with no having to buy extra materials. So, and that's just me, random. I don't farm materials or anything for anything I build. If I don't have enough, I just buy it, but so typically I pick stuff that's pretty cheap to make. But I do think one of the elements, it's like a kinetic omniplasm or something, is a little on the expensive side on the AH. But if you have some on hand, it's fortunate. But yeah, usually it's the item itself that triggers an idea, kind of like with the dragon. I saw the drake and fence piece, and it just looked like scales of a dragon to me. It might look like something else to somebody, somebody else. Maybe they'll look at this and see, I don't know, starfish or something that could be feasible, because they're kind of bumpily and bony looking as well, especially some of the different varieties. So just depends how everybody's thought process and the way they go about building is different. Some prefer a plan from the get-go and they go by the plan step by step. Others just like to go willy-nilly freebie, no plan at all, and just start plopping down items. And others, they'll take an approach where they'll start and then they'll work around that. And others are kind of here and there. Do whatever it takes for you to get through your process. For me, it's a mixture of both. Sometimes I like going in with a plan. I kind of knew that I wanted, to something that was beach house, sort of ocean/sea related. I wanted it to be a creature, because I've only done, beside the dragon, this will be the only other creature kind of thing. Usually I stick with landscapes because they can be a little bit more organic. When you're playing with creatures or portraits or something like that, it has to really be recognizable. If it kind of looks a little wonky, then people will immediately notice it and point it out. That doesn't look right. So it's a bit more of a challenge than a landscape, in my opinion. But yeah, just go with it however you need to. If you need to start out with a plan, then go for that. But my key triggers are textures and colors. Um, it's one of the reasons why I really wish, and a lot of the items that we have, that we had a lot of more primary colors like reds and yellows and stuff that we don't have. We have some items that have those bits on them, or if we have one that's a pretty big amount of that color, it's super rare, or it's got some weird animation. So, I'd like our building blocks to be able to come in, primary colors, so that we can more easily build. If we want a red barn, we don't have to always use the exile wall with that extra white trim on it. You could just build you a red barn or a blue barn or something like that. But or give us a way to repaint, like we do our costume pieces, do that with our decor. That would be cool. But anyway, so that is it for today. Again, I apologize for the shortness, but like I said at the beginning, my son is homesick. He's got like some kind of stomach bug, and I'm going to be kind of babysitting him today to kind of make sure he's all right, make sure he's taking his medicine and all that kind of stuff. So just reminders again about the two things going on right now. First one is Nexus Construction League. They are hosting their first annual housing competition. It is entity region only. So even if you're EU, if you have an entity character and you have a plot that you've put together, and you think it's cool and you want some airtime or some recognition for it, and a chance at some prizes, this is your opportunity. And of course, all entity players will have the opportunity as well. There is, I think they have 8 prize packages. They have it outlined as to what each package entails. Some of it includes, I think, cash shop items and things like that. So they're trying to spread the prize pool out as broadly as they can. So it's not just, one overall winner and one runner-up. They're, spreading it out pretty good. I don't believe there's any kind of theme restrictions, but there are, like I said, certain criteria that they're looking for, like completeness of the plot, how immersive it is, the creativity involved, like custom building and things like that, the overall wow factor, that kind of stuff. So their thread details out all of that information if you want to know it, so that you can kind of know ahead of time what they're looking for, so that if you need to add a few extra little touches, then you can do that. The deadline is February 14th. I do believe they've included a bit of a latecomer grace period for those that submit later entries if they can't finish quite in time. But there is the penalty that you might not get as much review time. I think everybody else will be guaranteed 30 minutes at least to review their plot and all that kind of stuff. But for latecomers, it's not going to be a guarantee, I guess. Because, probably really, if they get a lot of entries, which I suspect they will, it's very time consuming for judges to go through and, note everything down evenly and equally for everybody. So be sure, and, if you want your fair share of time, get that in before February 14th. The other thing is Venus Rising, courtesy of Nilia. They're going to be starting their Holy Housing Cupcake House Tours stream series today. I think it was originally scheduled for Saturday, but from what I understand, the raid got canceled tonight, so it's easier on them if they hook up this evening rather than tomorrow afternoon. So that will be tonight, Friday, 10 p.m. GMT time. It's a little bit late for me, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be hanging out, but I will definitely be checking out the video later. But the links to both of those, to her channel and to the thread for the Nexus Construction League is on my Twitch channel page. One is in the resources section, and the other is in the housing streamer section. Check them both out. If you're on for the housing tours thing that Nilia will be hosting, along with some of her compadres, that is the way I understand it. They're just asking you to submit your home if you would like to have them showcase it. So it's a little different than the way I do it. I just kind of, I don't care if you don't want to show your home. If it's public, I'm going to go if I want to, you know, kind of thing like that. I just come uninvited, and unbeknownst to most people, they have no clue that I'm touring their houses. But Nilly and them are asking people for, if you want your house toured, that they will be happy to drop by and provide their comments and banter and stuff over what they think about it. So far, they've gotten a lot of entries. I think most of them have been from Entity side. I guess Entity's housing scene is a little busier than ours, but yeah, it's another way of getting a little airtime. You know, even if I've toured your place before, if you want to submit it, you know, be free to do that. It's not a competition kind of thing between my tours and theirs. I'm just happy that more people are getting interested in housing and are wanting to show it off and share it with other people. And since their stream is a little bit more follower full than mine, hopefully that will reach more people, and that's a good thing. That can't be harmful in any way. So yeah, that's two big things going on. I have seen some more kind of stirrings as far as things coming up, announcements. So fingers crossed, some good stuff is going to be coming. I don't have any clue. I haven't seen any kind of hint that there's anything new housing related coming, but you know, we can always kind of hope and wish. I think they're pretty clear that housing is a pretty big pull for a lot of us, and it has a great potential to pull even more people in that are interested in this kind of thing. So maybe they will dedicate more attention to it and give us more tools to help us make our creations and stuff. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed this little extra little project, or whatever you want to call it, painting of the purple seahorse, and I look forward to starting up something new next week. Of course, we are planning to tour some exile homes next week as well, so if you can't join us for regular, you know, day-to-day stuff, be sure and drop by on Wednesday for that. In the meantime, good luck with your own projects. Have a super weekend, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.